Hello and welcome to OC Tanner presents ET Studios panel discussion on AI in HR and its role in workplace transformation in association with ET HR World. AI is transforming the way we're working, and at the heart of this evolution is HR. Now, from recruitment and talent management to onboarding, AI is drastically improving efficiency and also transforming workflows. To discuss the exact impact of AI in HR today, we have with us esteemed speakers. Please join me in extending a very warm welcome to our panel for the day. We have with us Dipankar Ghosh, who's the Group Head HR Apollo Tyres. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Also joining us is Satish Mohapatra, who's
Hi.
the EVP and Head Business and Corporate HR, Maruti Suzuki. Hi, sir. Thank
Hi.
you for your time. Please join me in welcoming Rajesh Rai, who's a CHRO APAC Global Logic.
Hi.
Hi,
Thank you.
Rajesh. And of course, you're familiar with Candy Fernandez, who's the Director, People and Rate Work, Middle East, Africa, and South Asia, OC Tanner.
Glad to be here. Thanks, Shilpa.
Fantastic. Let me open up the discussion with the first question. This one's open to all our speakers today. How do you think AI has transformed HR processes, particularly in areas such as onboarding, performance management, and recruitment?
Let me start by saying this that it is still a transformation process. It has not yet transformed. HR per se is coming over and above the HR tech that we have. It's around 2 years. We are still working on areas where repetitive, regular work can be done seamlessly. And we are seeing great strides, particularly on onboarding, particularly on areas like analytics and providing an uniform employee experience. In our organization, we have used a tool for our talent acquisition, which includes onboarding, and we are seeing almost 20% improvement in productivity when we are using this with a superior experience when they join the organization. So yeah, we are looking at an immense, limitless potential of AI as it comes to our life in few years to come.
Well, still its nascent stages, but the possibilities are endless, of course. So, what are the sort of advantages that you are noticing?
So I think while we all say that it is been a couple of years and we are taking baby steps, to some extent that's true. But then I think we can't be in that state of mind perpetually. We need to know that the whole world is started to using AI in real businesses. And we as HR people can't be limited to using it for some fancy screening of CVs and take it beyond that. So at Maruti Suzuki, we have been using it very consciously in 3 areas. One is, of course, hiring, where we it helps us, number one, connect to people like a human being. I mean, of course, Dipankar, you spoke about repetitive work. Beyond the repetitive work, whatever is human-like work. Like we have a tool which in LinkedIn connects to potential candidates and talks to them like a human being to keep the relationship warm before they even apply. That's one. Second, we use it a lot for problem solving, which like the chatbots. But the chatbots are only reactive. But we are trying to make it a forward solution thinking tool. Of course, the next thing that we want to do is to make it purely conversational. Last but not the least is listening. So we decided to convert ourselves to a listening culture, and there I'll speak in detail in next. But then we are using a lot to listen to our people and to make them feel that somebody who's a human being is listening to them, while they don't know that our chief listening officer, who's actually a digital persona.
Okay, so this also ensures some sort of privacy to that conversation. And I think it's so important for people to be heard and to be seen. And it's fantastic that AI is able to add a human touch, ironically, right there. I'll come across to you, Rajesh. What are your thoughts on it?
So lots happening, as Dipankar and Satish also said. I think a lot of pilots happening. But and we are Global Logic is a tech company, and we are right at the forefront of not only using Gen AI and building Gen AI and AI for clients, but also for our own selves. So we've done a lot in this space. For example, and each pocket, for example, if I look at sourcing, definitely AI comes across as a very good mechanism to shortlist at least the first set of profiles before you get deeper into things. If I look at onboarding, we actually tested out something called a metaverse based onboarding, where you play a game which of course is based on AI, right? That okay, you've passed level 1, then level 2, then level 3, and then you get onboarded. Again, this was a pilot. If I look at performance management, careers is a very big piece. So very recently we launched something called the Career Navigator, where if you click at a click of a button, it will tell you which are the career paths that you can follow. Say from moving, let's say from level A to level B, or from job family A to job family B. Now, all of this wouldn't have been possible had AI or AI related aspects not been there. And a recent one also is our GLX, which we call it like the Global Logic experiential learning, Netflix of learning really, where you can create personalized career learning paths for yourself, right? So based on what you're learning, it will build sort of a learning path for you, depending on what you're looking for and in which geography you're looking for. So the potential is amazing. One other area that we've been testing out is with one of our applications called Dr. Google, which tries to do what Dipankar said, remove the transactional pieces, and is like a chatbot which can answer any question that you have. So we've tested that in the shared services space because we feel it brings immense value in saving time and at the same time giving responses to our employees in real time. But it's still in pilot. So lots happening in this space, but I think it's all about two things: efficiency, getting off the transactions and getting to more meatier, strategic, value-adding inputs. And second is personalization, catering to what I need as an individual employee or a person, more than just what the organization needs.
So automation, value addition, and personalization, right? Absolutely. I think AI at the core of it really transforms these workflows with optimizing for these factors. Candy, I'll come across to you for the last word.
I think at just at the expense of not repeating what this lovely group here already so wonderfully explained and just putting together what this group is talking about. I think very clearly with AI coming in, what's happened is HR is now spending lesser time on tasks and more time with people and customers and partners, because that's the core of our job, really. We had signed up because we understand people better, because we are able to navigate through really complex situations, right? And we're able to understand this data that AI throws out now and do a better job at not just maybe personalizing the employee life cycle and the experiences through the employee life cycle, but also focusing more on now strategic initiatives and then delivering to the business goal, where HR was always viewed as just a task operator. I think with AI coming in, we're getting more of a place at the table where we can show that, yes, we have a voice towards your business goal. You need HR, you need the team to help you deliver to your business goal. So speeding up of HR processes through all of this repetitive tasks being automated, throwing out of data-driven insights that help you personalize the employee experience, or even analyzing vast amounts of data, right? Which earlier we would sit and do. Like in recruitment, I think we would have a team that would sit and sift through millions of CVs to find that right 10 candidates to send to the function. Today, I have AI to come and do a simple keyword search and what would take us weeks now takes us minutes to say, here's your list of potential candidates. HR, do your very meaningful interviews, right? Or even onboarding, understanding what the learning needs are or the learning styles are of your new hire or a new employee, and then tailoring that onboarding experience to make it more meaningful for them. Automating filling in of forms, repetitive, recurring tasks, or like we said, real-time feedback, right? So the real-time feedback really helps HR, because now we're saying, okay, leaders, I'm giving you real-time feedback. Now here's where you give targeted coaching, on-time coaching, frequent coaching. All of this coming together to say, let's speed up HR processes and focus on the employee experience.
So we heard other leaders talk about continuous adoption of AI across processes, and you also touch upon how there's continuous learning that's enabled by this with real-time feedback. So I think that ties that up well. Can you also mention insights? And I want to take that across to Satish. How do you think AI is helping you gauge employee engagement and also derive other insights around it?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Thanks. So I will speak from what we actually are doing. So at Maruti Suzuki, we had we have two layers of connecting and listening to people. One is our biannual employee engagement tool where a standard set of questions is asked and analytics is done by AI. So the earlier times of HR doing a download in Excel and making some cute PPTs is gone. Every manager has their own independent dashboard of what their people said with anonymity and confidentiality protected. That is one. But the bigger part is when the last, see in all these surveys, there is usually a last question. And that question is any other suggestions or inputs. And that is where the real emotions lie. Yeah. And those questions are mostly unread because who will read 20,000 people's subjective comments? And that's where the technology, because the technology has no mood, it has no time constraint, it reads all 20,000 comments in English, in Japanese, in Hindi, in different languages and converts it into measurable insights and actionable insights for the management, which earlier used to be a completely blank area. Yeah. So that is one. And second part is Candy also spoke about real-time listening. So this is periodic listening, but how do we take it every to the ground? So we have a digital persona called Chief Listening Officer, which is purely AI driven. It's not a human being. What she does is she connects to people on different milestones and on moments that matter. See, let's say 30 days, 60 days, 90 days of joining. People have different challenges. Sometimes you don't have a laptop. Sometimes you need to be included in the team. So it asks you at 60 days, if they go out for lunch, do they call you? Yeah. At 90 days, it will ask you, have you understood your role well? Have you had got one good meeting with your manager? These are then similarly 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 year, different set of questions. Then moments that matter in a career. Let's say somebody is returning from maternity break. Okay, somebody's been transferred, somebody's been promoted, somebody's got a manager change. Sometimes even a manager change is like getting a new job. In all those situations, it has a curated set of questions which it asks in a conversational manner, not just like a Q&A. And in that conversation, it pulls out the mood of the person and classifies people into high risk, medium risk, low risk. And then we bring in the human touch because it can't be all done by AI. AI gives you insights and analytics, as you said, and then human beings then take over and talk to them and solve the problems to make them stay. So rather than conducting exit interviews, we are conducting stay interviews, and all thanks to AI. Thank
That's a fantastic way of putting it, right? The AI recognizes patterns and gives you that sort of data you can act upon. And then you need that human touch to actually make a difference. I'll take it across to you, Candy. You told us about these insights. How do you think these insights are making the experience richer for employees?
Let me talk about one of the tools we use at OC Tanner, and we call this the flight risk dashboard. So simply what this dashboard does is it's able to visualize how many employees in the organization are at a risk of leaving because of not receiving meaningful and timely recognition. So like Satish said, that no longer we have HR teams that need to sit and analyze vast amounts of data that come from surveys and interactions with employees, and then they and identify patterns and then potential issues and then communicate it to your managers to address it. Today you have dashboards that AI can generate that give you this real time, on time, and frequently. So I'm able to go in and say as a HR leader, hey guys, I'm seeing a problem with this department. Is there not enough recognition happening? Does that mean that your employees are not performing enough? Do we need to intervene and maybe build in some coachability techniques there? How can I help you so that they get recognized and I can reduce the risk of them leaving? So simple interventions like this, I think, can give you a deeper insight to employee engagement, right? Apart from whether you're trying to analyze the sentiment of your people through these surveys and understand the employee satisfaction, or predictive analysis that AI is great at to see. Are my people engaged? Are they learning? Are the job has the job met their expectations? I think so. I think AI, with the augmentation through human capabilities, can just do wonders for the organization.
Absolutely. Now, let me come across to Rajesh. With any emerging technology, there always are teething problems. So, what are the sort of challenges that HR leaders face when integrating AI into their workflows?
Well, there are challenges that okay, at the challenges are at several levels, right? Number one is basic stuff, which is what goes in comes out, right? So if let's say AI algorithms are fed with information or data that is not very pristine, not very accurate, or it has errors or it has issues, right? Then obviously what you will get out is going to be very skewed as well, right? So that's one. But I think the more important one, and this is one for GenAI, where there's a lot of work that is needed to build that data lake or build that LLM, as we call it, behind the scenes, to get your feed-in information right, right? What we spoke about right now was more about live information and you decoding insights out of it. But what if you're building a system like what I spoke about, a career navigator, right? Where you are giving employees options of saying you are here and you want to move to point D. These are the 5 ways in which you can do it. Now, to get those 5 ways of movement, you have to create a behind the scene LLM which can help you answer that question that employee is going to ask you, which means your back end side of things has to be absolutely great for your front end to be great. So that's a lot of effort. That's a lot of time, energy, effort spent. That's number one, at least as of today. With a lot more that's happening in this space, we in the future we will see it getting more democratized and maybe at a lesser cost. But today the effort and cost, everything is there. But worth the effort, no doubt. But the second more important piece is the ethical piece, which, as you know, even in India, the government is coming up with the Data Act as well. So more and more of this is going to get, in my head, regulated, and therefore we'll have to find ways to make sure how the ethical pieces are complied with. How much of the personal information of an employee, and personal PI has a huge definition, can you collect and analyze, and in what form, and how can you share, and what compliances are required? There's a lot of stuff that this act talks about. I call it a cousin of GDPR, but it's going to make things challenging for us to solve. The benefits are definitely there, but the ethical considerations are going to be immense. Even today, organizations are rolling out, including ours. We are very particular about policies that govern AI and GenAI use in our work. Because we work with clients and we are very careful about their patents and IP information. We obviously don't want any of that to get out, right? So all employees are governed by NDAs and much more. So there are these considerations. It's a journey. We'll get there. We'll obviously find solutions to get the maximum benefit out.
Absolutely. So I think AI is probably, AI developers are probably actively working on the GIGO problem. That's the garbage in, garbage out problem, right? Where perhaps the input data can also be made better using AI. And like you very rightly mentioned, there's compliance as well that all leaders must be cognizant of. And hence, there's continuous improvement of the application of AI in HR, keeping in mind these evolving laws such as
very sensitive, right? We
DPD.
deal with sensitive stuff all the time.
Exactly.
All the more.
Exactly. So I think you're pros at that sort of quick adaptation and staying agile. I'll take it across to you, sir. What are the sort of problems that you are facing when integrating AI?
I think the challenge sets are not very different. Data quality, what Rajesh spoke about, is extremely important. Not only data quality, but also existence of data. Because we had also not been very good in preserving data to create that lake, which can give enough impetus or enough input to create a decision in the forward and going forward. And I think in many processes where restoration of data had been a problem, we are facing that to create a good model, giving us erroneous output. So that's one. We also spoke of GDPR, so I don't want to get into the other aspects of that. And particularly companies who are operating globally, some of these GDPR issue can be very ticklish. And when you are trying to make a one organization principle and with laws differing from countries to country, you have to be very sure what is your least common denominator. And that can be sometimes really frustrating for somebody who is trying to extract the best out of the system. The other part which I wanted to also examine was the bias that comes in when you use back-end algorithms, or ability of people to accept those decisions. And it's very difficult to say, look, my algorithm is throwing up that these are the 5 right candidates. And so somebody talked about CV, somebody talks about some experience. Everywhere, the bias and the complexity of algorithm is something that as an HR practitioner, we find difficulty in convincing, because when a machine throws up an algorithm around with defect data, it's much easier for a person to accept it. But when it is a human decision where there are certain areas of gray, a decision wholly thrown by an algorithm is a problem. That's something that we have to cross over the years to come. And the last thing that I just wanted to add on that is also, I think as an ecosystem, we have also inherited HR teams and expectation of people from HR where AI still is nascent. And so upskilling them, bringing them up to the speed is currently a big challenge for us to very quickly come to this. And that's something we need to solve as early as possible.
All right. I think Rajesh also wanted to make a point.
Yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
what Dipankar just said, it's basically reminds me of what Candy said, that it's a combination of what AI brings to the table with human capability. So while it can give you a lot of data, insights, dashboards, it can help you decode a lot of things which were not possible earlier, faster. Eventually, we'll have to figure out, okay, what is the value we can bring out of it? Whether it's on employee engagement, people strategy, but yeah, good value. So her point on, and Dipankar's point on AI plus the human side is very, very important, because we come in then to say this looks good, but just doesn't look good. Or maybe this is good, this is fine, this is not so
In fact,
fine.
I think right now we are in a stage where we are thinking, if there is an AI, why should I think? Because we have been not thinking for so long, and we have to move to the third stage.
Yeah, I want to come in there.
Exactly.
So, I mean, they both have made their points. I'm not repeating them. You spoke about garbage in, garbage out. And I just want to remind all of us that basically it is with AI or Gen AI, basically, everything gets amplified. So a garbage that is in becomes a mountain of garbage as out. Yeah. So that is most important. That is exactly why, coming to your point, we also need other accountability piece. See, biases and privacy, consent are topics that is legally mandated, and governments will come in, set rules, all of that will happen. What about accountability? Today, if I goof up on something, the organization can hold me accountable. With technology, unless there is a human touch at the end or somewhere in the middle, who's accountable? And that is something in the initial years, at least, we all need to figure out. Having said that, I'm sure, I hope I'm not sounding like, I'm not playing the devil's advocate, because I am a big fan of AI. And I believe initially it will create some chaos, but it will eventually make things better.
And it's here to stay.
It's
I think all of you
Absolutely.
believe that. And you were talking about bias in the manner, perhaps, AI can cut out human bias, and human can cut out the AI bias. So it has to be a collaborative process, I feel, at the end of the day. I'll come back to you, Candy, about this. AI, as we all agree, is here to stay. But in what tangible ways do you think it's improving employee engagement, especially with regard by personalization?
I think everything that we're speaking about is so interlinked, and we all have so much to say about it. We've spoken already so much about it. I feel like I'm going to repeat myself. But I think in terms of elevating the employee experience, this is where I think AI and HR need to come together and build really powerful synergies. Because without that, I'm not going to be able to elevate that employee experience. For me to gauge what the employee engagement is right now, AI can give me several insights, because that's its capability, right? Real-time feedback collection, taking all of that data, analyzing that data in a matter of minutes, and then identifying potential problems through creating patterns through the data that they've gotten, and then disseminating that information to the HR leader. So HR can now say, right, let me spend more time looking at what my potential issues are, and establishing those personalized, meaningful moments for my employee through their life cycle. I think that is the primary role of AI right now for us in HR. I think it's very clear with everything that we've spoken in the last few minutes. But if I have to talk about a couple of things that we use in OC Tanner, it's we also want to ensure that AI is bringing people together. It's connecting people and not just building silos, because we can get into the trap of silos when I'm just talking to an agent, right? I still want connection. I still want fostering deep relationships. So how am I going to do that? One of the things that we use in OC Tanner on our recognition platform is what we call My Circle, right? So throughout our life cycle, I build relationships with more than just my manager or my team member. I build relationships and informal relationships with so many cross-functional team members, cross-geographical team members, and I forget to recognize them. So what My Circle does is it brings those people to the surface through workflows and algorithms that are in the system and reminds you, well, have you recognized this person lately? So building connections along with some small smart nudges in the system for the people every day, I think it just builds those connections for us, and it makes it so much more meaningful. It's a personalized experience and yet a meaningful experience, right? Another tool we very actively use is a job transition dashboard, right? In my number of years in OC Tanner, I can tell you very safely, my job has seen a number of transitions, right? Now, through these transitions, it's always been HR's role to intervene and say, how is your employee doing? But maybe, I don't know whether this group agrees with me, the efficiency of that hasn't been so great because we're human beings as well at the end of the day, and I need someone to help me visualize what is the state of that person at that particular time of transition. This dashboard pans out the transition of their employee in the first few months, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and actually sends out reminders to the managers and says, how is your employee doing? Have you recognized him? Have you checked in on him? So again, a lot of throwing out of data and establishing patterns along with smart nudges. Now, this has helped us greatly because we've seen really seamless transitions for a lot of people in the organization, and we've seen really strong connections across the organization that has grown. And our employee engagement levels have been very healthy, thankfully, and we hope to continue to do so.
It's interesting how AI can do this sort of hand-holding, which is really not possible on a human scale, right? And it's so important also to break down silos, as you mentioned. And I think, companies are actively looking at doing that. So would you like to add to what Candy
So
said?
one of the things that we haven't discussed is AI is also trying to help us in doing a lot of predictive analytics. And this is actually elevating the role of HR organization to do higher value work. I remember he discussed about biennial survey. We would do a survey for a month, then we would wait for a month for the results to come, and then we would take another 2 months to analyze those data of 20,000 people. And from there, today, you take the survey in 48 hours, the results are there. In 48 hours, you have every kind of analytics that you can possibly think through, which gives a lever for the HR team to actually then immediately address issues that had been raised real time, instead of probably spending 6 months where obviously the issue is gone. So that's one. And I think it is equipping the HR team with much more tools to go and do strategic work rather than actually doing the mundane data analysis and presentation. And I think so that's one. The second part also, AI is throwing us opportunities. So I was very intrigued to hear that point of subjective words written and nobody reads, this is a fact, but it gives you the cloud buzz today. And you exactly pick up the top 10 things that has come. And you will be surprised to find that it helps in employee engagement. Employees often are not very excited today in good organization on the hygiene engagement that we do. They are talking about, are we contributing to organizational cause? Am I part of the organization? And you get fantastic insight on doable by the organization, which actually impact them on a larger level rather than doing some small engagement activity, which we think is engagement. Yeah, and I think those are things that are differentiating us and helping us understand our employees need to use of AI.
And just adding to what Dipankar said, analytics are kind of a given now, a given expectation from AI. What it is also doing is it is suggesting action plans on employee engagements to the HR so that they can see, oh, I've thought about this five, but I would have missed out on the sixth one. That's where the real value add happens. That's where the human like interventions happen, apart from machine like interventions.
And as he also mentioned, value add from a different perspective, in the sense an employee wants to know how are they actively contributing to business goals of the organization, and AI can tell you that your role is important and in exactly what manner, right?
And
So that's
also, we have kind of triggered a system in our engagement where we actually send a thank you, which is something they really value. So we use this word, you told, we heard. And that creates a huge wow within themselves, which frankly, in the good world, dead world, nobody had time to do it. We just forgot.
it's feel good as well, right?
Yeah,
For the
I
employee
always
and
say this that, and at GlobalLogic we've been doing this really well. Is that success means different things to different people, and if you're able to decode what success means for an employee, I may be interested in doing, let's say, corporate social responsibility work in addition to my growth in a certain domain or on a certain technology. I may be interested also in sports events alongside my job. I might want a lateral move and not really a vertical move, or XYZ, right? Now, this is what success means to me. But this definition of success is very different from, say, my fellow colleague, right? AI is helping us decode that to the next level, where it's helping us with all these prompts, right? That okay, if I want to learn this technology, it is helping me build a personalized learning path. If I want to grow like this in my career, it's giving me options of career paths that I can take within the company. It is giving me the information of what all SMEs I have in the company at one go, saying, okay, you want a list of people who will help you on this technology? Here is a list of 20, 30, 50, 100 people. That was just impossible, many years back, because it was all manual, right? Manual, or we'll sit down on Excel sheets and, do stuff. No longer. So it's really helping us at this level of defining success for people in the way that they like, and not necessarily in the way that just the organization likes.
Because as you rightly said, careers have become, Rajesh, individual journeys rather than a mass upgrading
It's
in
never a mass.
in a ladder,
Correct.
and in that individual journey, individuals have to be in the center, and it is impossible to do that in large organizations by howsoever, because HR will always have the task to do more with less, and that's where AI comes in.
And I just want to add one more angle, is the Gen Z angle. The new generation that is coming, they would need everything customized. They have 50 flavors of ice cream. We never had that. And hence, everything that they need now would need that kind of a customization, which is tailored for that person. Otherwise, you can't excite them. And that's where AI is going to play a very big role.
So personalized learning path and personalized growth tracks.
Personalized recognition to what you just spoke about, right? Am I being recognized in the way that I like, not necessarily using what the organization may have? And that's where the Gen Zs come in, saying it has to be what I call the Instagramic way, right?
Yeah.
It's a way that I like rather than the way the system is.
So social validation,
Yeah,
perhaps,
social.
right? And it also provides a bridge, AI that is, between the organization and the employee, to provide recognition in a manner that is acceptable to the employee and also good for the organization. Fantastic. Some great insights there. Unfortunately, we are nearing the end of this discussion. So, my last question, I want to again throw it open to all our speakers today. In your opinion, as HR leaders, what do you think are the best practices that we can follow to ensure successful implementation of AI?
Okay, let me go first. I think two things are important for successful implementation. I think we need to make sure that the data that we are using is handled carefully, preserved, and kept in a manner which can not only solve for today but for tomorrow. So, how do you manage the data lake? And is something that would be the key differentiator in doing that, in doing this. And second is, I think the overall upskilling of the entire stakeholder that you are dealing with on AI would also enable us to harness the benefit of AI at the earliest possible time. The more we delay on that, and as somebody hinted, that I think, and I come from a manufacturing organization, I am seeing HR had been a much slow adapter compared to how my manufacturing colleagues have already adopted AI in their day-to-day life. And I think we are still talking around, we don't have data and all of that. I think these are the two things that would really make a difference for quick benefits of AI.
That's an interesting perspective, sir. I'll come across to you.
Yeah, so I'll also keep it crisp to 2 points. Number one to me is to actually communicate the advantage of AI so that everybody understands, all stakeholders. So it is a little bit like the early 90s when the ATMs came in and every banker thought their job will go. It didn't do. It created new jobs. It freed them up from those tasks. Same thing is the case of AI, where we need to convince our people that it can actually assist human beings do better jobs. That is one. And second, which is more important to, in my personal perspective, is technology and solutions will be many, but all these we HR people have to keep the human beings at the center. Technology has to revolve around the requirements of human beings rather than the tail wagging the dog. Yeah. So these are the two aspects which I think are broad level things. The rest of it will be taken care of by either technology or by regulations.
So keep the employee at the center and then tailor the technology. Excellent. Come across.
My bet is, I think this is an excellent time to innovate, to get creative, rather than getting scared or anxious about the whole equation of AI and above. This is an excellent time to say, what more can I accomplish through the power of technology to create the employee experiences the way we would have loved to create, right? Like for decades, I think as HR and business professionals, we've been talking about always taking employee experiences to many notches above. I think today, thankfully, technology gives us that opportunity of innovating, brainstorming possibilities, the art of possibility, that you can do so much. And so therefore, keep trying. I'm not sure if we have ready answers at this time. Maybe the ready answers will be few years down the line, but the innovations will still continue. So today, let's say if you have a problem of saying, let me teach or coach my managers to become better people leaders, as an example, AI can absolutely help you with simulations which you can give them through which they can do so. They can practice. Now, this kind of stuff was never available earlier. So I would just say the biggest best practice anybody, any professional or a company can adopt is the art of possibility, this innovation, this brainstorming, creativity to just open up the world and say, what more can I accomplish for our employees and make better, great workplaces?
And the fact that you mentioned, how can we adopt this technology instead of being scared by it, and how can I use this innovation to make sure I'm at the forefront of this revolution? I think that it's applicable to everybody, so that's a great point indeed, Rajesh. And Candy, I'll come across to you. You've heard what they had to say, and you also have a bird's eye point of view. Do talk us through this.
Sometimes when I think of AI, I think of those days in my childhood when I would watch these science fiction movies and someone walking into this lost spaceship and a human hologram coming and giving you all these analytics on the dashboard. And I would wonder, would I ever live to see that time? But this is where we are right now, right? We're in that time. That was AI. We spoke about AI then, and when we're living the era of AI right now. And I think for me, it's for us HR leaders, at least in our roles, to harness this power of AI. The power that they have of automating all these repetitive tasks and analyzing vast amounts of data and just speeding up things for us. But also remembering that we cannot replace that without these innate human capabilities that we come with, right? Whether it's bringing empathy into the situation, or just good found ethics into the situation, or maybe creative solutioning. We're still here, and we need that. So it's important that we come together, harness the power of AI, and just take the employee experience to that next level.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great note to wrap this on. Thank you so much for your insights. I think we covered some great ground via this discussion. And I want to thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very
Thank
much. Thank you
you.
for
Thank
having
you
us.
so much.
Good day.
Dear Rajesh,
Bye-bye.
thank you so
much.
much.
And thank you for watching. And for more such insightful conversations, remember to stay tuned to ET Studios. Thank you.